Happy Sunday, OMC crew.
Locked in the bunker, shadow shake. One man clapping secrets awake. Board games living, dice they break. Echoes pounding, hearts they quake. In the bunker, board games rolling. One man clapping, stories growing. Hard rock thunder, speakers blowing. Clapping loud, the unknown sound.
Welcome to the sound of one man clapping. I am the one man coming to you direct from the bunker. It is, of course, Sunday morning, and today I'm going to do it a little bit differently. Nothing wrong with a new position once in a while. We're going to have a bumper crop of FOMOMOFO and just spend some quality time with the myriad of voices in my head. I got a bit of a thing on my mind today, so on with the show. Well, this week we're doing it a little differently. Last week I discussed the throbbing beast that was last year's October crowdfunding. Oh my word, never a truer word spoken. I think this week 12 million campaigns launched. It might have been 15. But spoiler alert, it was not 15. It was a whole lot more, or it has been a whole lot more. Oh my word. So buckle up. This is One Man Clapping Does a Clean Sweep, or as near to a clean sweep as I can manage. Running on one coffee so far. Hang on, one coffee and one sip. Hang on. All right, I got you, peeps. So, welcome to FOMOMOFO. This is not my personal angst-ridden journey of capitalist acquisitionism. This is all the FOMOMOFO. This is not Boardgame Co. or Shelf Clutter. Those guys, I'm sorry, Shelf Clutter's packed it in. He's retired and, for reasons. But this is not a thorough and exhaustive covering of crowdfunding, but this is just a way more. I started this episode making my notes thinking, well, I'll just do every campaign that's live right now. How hard can it be? I got news for you. That's way more campaigns than you want to listen to. There is so much out there. So, without further ado, I want to go through a whole lot of campaigns in a moderate amount of detail. So if you're like, I don't do crowdfunding, I am not interested. I want to hear what stupid game you played this week. That's not this week. I don't have games that played this week. I did play some games. I had a wonderful week, but I didn't want this to be a 7-hour episode. So starting off with The Sheep. If you haven't seen The Sheep, go hop on. I think they're on Kickstarter. The Sheep's on Kickstarter. The Sheep is, in their words, a co-op comedy horror game. Okay, right? Sounds like Cthulhu Death May Die or Arkham Horror, but no. This was about eldritch sheep, and it looks like wild, crazy fun. It's giving me Black Sheep vibes. If you never saw, not Black Sheep, the movie with Chris Farley, Black Sheep, the New Zealand indie film from 2006 about zombie sheep. That was an amazing bit of cinema. Not cinema. Hang on. I said the word cinema, so I need more coffee, clearly. 1 second. Let's just juice up the Kims. It's a remarkable little bit of indie cinema. It's a New Zealand film, and it is about sheep that basically have to be hunted down by the locals. And this game is giving me those vibes. Think Zombicide, but I don't think there's any dice in this at all. We're all shepherds, and we're slaughtering sheep that mostly come out at night. Mostly. So during the day, you've got this day phase where you're juicing up your shepherds, and at night the sheep come out, and you've got to just murder demonic sheep. It's bizarre and stupid, and I think I want it. I think I love it. All the cards are filled with little sheep puns. There's wooden sheeples. The deluxe version is just the same game, but they give you a wooden insert, right? So I'm not sure I'm keen to spend whatever it is, $40 US just for a wooden insert. But the deluxe version also has some STLs if you're a 3D printer kind of guy. I do not have a 3D printer. I think I still have access. I think Battleships is still playing with the 3D printer, so I may have access to STLs being printed, but whatevs. So the base game, which doesn't have the wooden insert and the STLs, it's just got the game of, I don't think they're zombie sheep technically. I think they're eldritch sheep. It's $90 Australian, which is a very tidy little price. Like, to be honest, $90 Australian is not a lot for a board game in 2025. But be forewarned, shipping certainly to our neck of the woods is egregious at $45. So if you want this game in Australia, and I know there are many of you that are not in Australia. In fact, the minority of the OMC crew is in Australia. But certainly to get it to us, shipping is $45 on top of the 90. So I can't imagine this is the kind of little indie project that is going to go to retail, though. So if murdering sheep as they come out at night sounds like co-op fun, check it out, man. Check it out. It's a fun little project that is, I guess, I won't say not taking itself too seriously. This is a little indie publisher. This is their second game, not their first, but it's very much worth a look. But if you want to sort of, I guess, if you want to instill your bunker with a sense of both delight and dread, maybe Sheep's your jam. Moving on from Sheep, there is a game called Making Monsters. So you'll know I'm not going to talk about what I am and am not backing in this. I'm just bringing you all the news, guys. That's doing it a little differently today, and the reason will become clear sort of as we get towards the end. So Making Monsters on Kickstarter. This is a bag builder where you're drafting chips from a Lazy Susan. Think Planet Unknown. You know, it's your turn. You spin it around. You're drawing chips from the Lazy Susan, and then everyone else has to draft one that's in front of them. But you're not placing it immediately like Planet Unknown. You're dropping them in your bag. And then you are drawing these chips in a second phase against a series of monsters that you have in front of you in your little tableau. And, you know, so your tableau has 2 pre-printed monsters on it. And I think there's 2 or 3 more slots. And the monsters are all on cards. And you can overlay the pre-printed ones with other monsters, no problem at all. But the pre-printed ones give you monsters that you can achieve all the time, much like the Bandit and Clank up at the top, you know, where you've always got something you can fight against. And so you're drawing, and you've got 4 or 5 different components that are in these monsters, and you're ostensibly the mad scientist, lumping together organs and meat, and I don't even know what the little things are. But in your bag, you also have rot. So rot is going to fill up a separate channel on your board, and if rot gets to the end, you bust, and you've got to wipe all your monsters. A little bit like spots. If you played spots, you don't have rotten spots, you have cute little dogs. And if you can't fit the dice on your dogs, you have only so many pips you can store, and then you bust. And then you're going to score your monsters. You know, it's got a delightful art aesthetic. It is a really, really cute monster cartoony, you know, thing going on. Deluxe edition has wooden tokens instead of cardboard tokens. I would never buy cardboard tokens for a bag builder. If you're going to get cardboard tokens, then be prepared to get coin caps, you know, to cover them up. Because swishing your hand through a bag of little cardboard chits just makes my skin crawl. Not because I need an elitist. I just don't think it's a very good experience, and I also don't think it's a very fair experience. You get chips that stick together, they're down the corner of the bag. It's hard to know how, I mean, if the chips are in the corner of the bag, you might think you've got, you know, fewer chips than you do. So the deluxe has wooden tokens. Allegedly, I say allegedly, I mean, according to their campaign, this is good to go. This is complete. It's done. So as soon as the campaign finishes, they're going to start production. So they're aiming to deliver middle of the next year. If that's true, that's amazing. Deluxe is $150 Australian. So on one hand, it seems really high for like a game of this weight, like $150. I think my last Lacerda that I bought was Speakeasy. I have a feeling that was $185. Now, that's got absolutely top tier production. But that said, it's also a major publishing house, right? You know, Eagle Griffin Games is a major publishing house. They have the power of, you know, their existing relationships. They have the power of, you know, well, hey, they can grind their suppliers down a little more because they're like, well, we've got 15 more campaigns in the next 3 years, or 15 more productions we're running in the next 3 years. So I also think $150 Australian for a game of this sort of production quality, I guess I'll say. Not that it's filled with minis and whatnot, but it's 2025. And everything is so meaningfully more expensive. And I think, certainly, I'm going to have to reset what I think not value for money, but what a fair price is. Because, you know, value for money is a very personal thing. Value for money is your personal, you know, vantage point or perspective on what you get out of a game for the money you put into it. But I just think straight up, you know, value of the purchase itself, as in, is this purchase good value? I'm probably going to have to do a bit of a Gen X reset because I look at $150 and I go, So I don't have $150, but I look at it and I go, well, I can get a Lacerda for 185. I don't know. We'll see. Perhaps Lacerda's new campaign will be out, probably next month. They typically drop that in November. That's for the Great Library. We'll see if that sort of pricing holds. That could be over 200 Australian now for his next game. So who knows? That'll certainly be some. It's kind of one of the litmus tests I use. It's like, well, if I'm paying $180, what else can I get for $180? For $180, I could get a Lacerda. I bought Egemonia for $235. Now, Egemonia has a few minis in it, not tons, but there's a bucket ton of game in Egemonia. And so that's, I guess, for me, the flip side is I am doing a bit of a, the value proposition for, a game like Making Monsters, in that, am I getting enough game for $150? You know what I think? I've just bought Ruins for like $32, and Ruins is a delightful little brain burner card shedding game. It really is. Like, it makes your prefrontal cortex literally sizzle. Not in a painful way. It's not Calico. It's not, one of those. Sorry, more coffee. 1 second. Oh, so good. For those of you that care, I'm drinking Tim Hortons French Vanilla Blend this morning, which I brought home from Canada, and it is delicious. So it's not a brain burny in such that it causes you pain. Sometimes it does take you a minute to go, well, which of these cards am I actually going to be able to play on my turn? But it is a delightful little sizzle, and I want to say it was $32 or $35. That's a loaded game. I actually think there's as much game in Ruins, as in from a gameplay point of view, as there might be in Making Monsters. Making Monsters is beautiful. It's cute. It's probably not going to go to retail, and if it does go to retail, it will be retailers that have bought copies to on sell. It's not. This is not the kind of game that's going to be in wider distribution. You're going to see a theme through most of this. Pardon me, I got a little bit of a sniffle. It's a bit chilly in Australia this morning. So, anyway, it's $150. Shipping is $36 Australian on top of that, so that's a 24% differential. We're talking about. I often talk about shipping as a percentage of the cost, which helps me sort of compare apples and apples. So it's sitting at 24%. I'm usually happy with somewhere between 20 and 25%. I have gone a little higher than that for games that I think are going to be really special. It's definitely worth 10 minutes of your time to have a look. Making Monsters is worth 10 minutes of your time to go have a look. This appears to be the very first effort for Skyline Games, and good luck to them. I will certainly be spending some time looking at the gameplay and thinking about, will I get my money's worth out? And, when I say get my money's worth out, if I get 5 plays out of something in the first year or two, I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm going to be looking at, well, if it's going to take an hour, I'm not telling you how to do your board gamer math. It's the board gamer version of girl math. If I look at, I'll get 5 plays. I'm going to get 5 plays in the first 2 years because I've got a lot of games in rotation, and a play's an hour. And that hour is going to cover 4 people. That's 20 hours of joy. So that's 20 hours of joy out of this game in the first 2 years. And with shipping, what are we talking here? $185? We're talking about $4 an hour, less, $3.75 an hour. Okay, that's fine. That's how I try to, I guess, unpick. Am I going to go in on stuff like this? But anyway, Making Monsters, it's worth your time to look. The next one up this is one that is like right in my wheelhouse because it ticks all the boxes for me. This has, except for, I don't think this is again, I think this is another first game. Oh, we'll come to that. Anyway, sorry, I should probably give you the title of the game. It's that kind of morning. This is Robo Rescue, which I referred to Making Monsters Robo Rescue. That's because Robo Rescue is next on my list. So Robo Rescue is this delightful little game. I say little. It's got some crunch. You've got this huge, I think it's double layered or triple layered board, and it's got inset tokens into it. And on this board, you're going to have your little robot. This is Robo Rescue. Spoiler alert, we're trying to rescue these robots. Well, you're not. You're trying to rescue your own robot. It's like, fuck everyone else. It's like Anachrony. We can't get together as a society and escape. No, fuck everyone else. I'm out of here, bitch. Robo Rescue, you're trying to get off the planet. I think it's Mars or something similar, and it's all busted up. And you've got your player board, which has all these gaps and bits in it, and what you're playing sort of 2 or 3 games at the same time. And one is an action programming, so you're going to play some cards face down, and then you're going to flip those over. And I may have the details of this wrong. Sorry, I've looked at a lot of games this week. And then your little robot is going to, your cards might say, well, move forward 2 and right 1, whatever the case is. And anything you sort of crawl over, it's either where you crawl over or where you finish. Now, that might just be where you finish. Where you finish, you're going to go zoom, and you're going to pick up the little tokens there, and you're going to add those resources to your board. And those resources will do all kinds of fun stuff. Some of them will be spent to rebuild your rocket. You've got this 3D standy rocket in front of you, and you've got to get 4 engines clipped on it. Yes, 3D plastic engines get clipped onto your rocket. So unnecessary, right? It could be 4 tokens on your board. I don't care, right? I don't even care. I don't care. You've got this 3D rocket, and you've got to clip 4 plastic engines on it. And once 4 plastic engines are on there, you can zoop, you can leave everyone behind and go, see ya, motherfucker, I'm off this planet. And I think that's, I don't think it's a race, it's a score, but I don't think you can win if you haven't fixed your rocket is the mechanic, which I like. There's a lot of that sort of stuff. Calimala has that from Reiner Knitzia. If you don't get above a line, doesn't matter how good your score is, if you're not above the line, you can't win. Last night I couldn't even compete in the last hand of Ruins because I didn't achieve the minimum requirements to even play. Oh, yeah, sadness, just sitting around cheering everyone on, unsleeving cards that people are done with like some loser in the corner. Loser? And you've got a mini game on your board where you're trying to repair, trying to connect wires together. It's a little bit of a pipeline-y sort of thing where you're cashing resources in for little tiles and you're building these tiles out to connect the left side of your board to the right side of your board. Dual-layer game board, dual-layer player boards. Yeah, it's crunchy, it's cute, it's whimsical, it's got little toys that you can push around, which I love the little toys, and the little minis, the little robot minis are a delight. Look, this is, again, this one's sitting at $150 Australian, and shipping's $40, so it's around 27% for shipping, so it's getting up there. But again, this is I'll call it a second game for this company, the company that's doing this. Their first game was free. It was Robo Rescue the Prequel, which was a little card game. We had 4 little decks of cards, and you were basically using those decks to build your robot character. It's so cute. So in this campaign, you can actually, they're calling it Robo Rescue the Prequel. It was called Robo Rescue the card game originally, and it was available free as a print and play, but you could pay some money to get a printed version. It did fine. I think for something that little, I think it did $27,000 or something a year ago or a year and a half ago. And so they've taken that. They've gone, right, we've done that. Now we're doing the big game. So in this campaign, you can actually get Robo Rescue the card game, and you can play that as a prequel just to buy into the charm. So you play that, and then you go, right, put that away. Now we're bringing out Robo Rescue. And I think that is fucking delightful. I really do. I think the fact that they've taken their little baby campaign for babies that they've done, and they've gone, well, you can actually get it and make it all part of the table experience. I think it's very sweet. I think it's very cute. I'm going to have a very hard time not picking up Robo Rescue. Again, it's worth a few minutes of your time, right, to hop on and have a look. This is a small little indie group of guys that are making a game, and they love the game, and they've put a lot of work into it. There's a lot of videos by the usual suspects out there. You want to watch some, they call them previews, but we all know what they are. They're ads. They're paid ads, but there's a lot of paid ad previews out there where you can go see some gameplay, and you can go see it in action. And that's Robo Rescue. And then, so up next is a gargantuan monster of a beast. Pardon the pun. This is Dinosaur Island. Dinosaur Island is getting a full reprint with all the goods. I'm not going to lie. If Super Trooper didn't already own everything Dinosaur Island, I would 100% be in on this. Every little boy in 1979 and 1980 was fucking in love with dinosaurs, right? Like, there's this running gag in the world, like, well, autistic kids love dinosaurs and trades. Like, no, fuck that. We all love dinosaurs and trades, right? And everyone had a favorite dinosaur. You want to impress a dude who's like over 40. I'm talking to you ladies out there, and you're on like a first date. You go, hey, what's your favorite dinosaur? Stand back. What's your favorite dinosaur, right? We've all got one. or maybe we don't. Maybe I'm just autistic. I don't know. It's not neurodivergent. Maybe I'm neurodivergent. I don't know. Everyone has a favorite dinosaur. Ask a dude. What's your favorite? So Dinosaur Island, I only played it once. I want to say it was 3 years ago. Super Trooper brought this game over. And he goes, we're going to play Dinosaur Island. And it was like neon pink and lime green. And I'm like, what the shit is this? Oh, man, I loved Dinosaur Island. It was so much fun. You've got people. Dinosaur Island is basically Jurassic Park, right? You're building a theme park. You're filling it with dinosaurs. And sometimes those dinosaurs eat your guests. And that has, problems. And it's fun. It is a fun-ass game, Dinosaur Island. It's getting a full reprint with magnets. I don't know why they're having magnets. If you go look at the campaign page is a bit weird. When I say weird, for something like this is Pandasaurus Games. Pandasaurus is definitely not a first-time publisher. They've been around a long time. And so they've got magnets for the dinosaurs to stick to things. And I don't know why. They've got like 5 or 6 photos, if you scroll through, of them holding pieces up with the dinosaurs hanging off the bottom. And I'm like, yes, I'm 51. I know how magnets work. But thank you for showing me yet again that your dinosaur will stick to something. I don't know if they've introduced some new mechanic. But magnets and marbles. They're the new anthropomorphic animals in 2025 in games. Everything's got to have magnets or marbles. Oh, and you get to the end of the campaign page, and it's like a year 9 essay. It's just dot, bullet point. Read this, read more, read this, buddy. Read! And then you get to the shipping, and they're like, well, we think shipping's probably going to be something like this. We're not sure, but it's our best guess, so just give us money. Look, if you want the all-in, it's $150 US, which is $3.9 trillion Australian. It's not. It's 225, but, And shipping, who knows? They can't tell you how much shipping is. There's some vague estimates, waving their hands mystically back and forth in front of them while they try and, make some guesses. Anyway, Dinosaur Island. It's a great game. I think they've got an upgrade pack finally, which they didn't originally have. I think they were hoping everyone like Super Trooper would go, well, I'm just going to take my $300 game and put it one side because I need these 7 new things. So I'm going to buy the new game. Spoiler alert, that did not work. So now they have an upgrade pack so you can get all the new stuff. Hopefully the ink coloring on the cards or whatever it is all going to match so that nobody's got, 7 new cards. I don't even know if it's carded. I don't know what's in the upgrade pack. But anyway, Dinosaur Island. If you like dinosaurs, get Dinosaur Island. So up next is Ruin-Born Dungeons of Cabora. Okay, there is a lot of this stuff out there right now. You want mid-tier dungeon crawling? Sweet baby jeebas, you are spoiled for choice right now. There are like 49 campaigns out for dungeon crawling, adventure-y stuff. With minis, without minis, with standees, with neoprene mats. So anyway, I'm not going to do them all because I can't. Because also, I would lose my 7 listeners. You guys would be like, "Oh, that's more than 7." Like, guys, there's tons and tons of others. So thank you, but I would lose the ones that are this far into this episode because there are so many, and they might be amazing. But man, you're gonna have to spend some time with these to unpick A from B from C because there's a lot of sort of generic dungeon crawls out there. This has a very off the shelf sort of look and feel about it. On the campaign page, there's some great advice. It says, remember not to die, and hundreds of equipment to craft. So I suspect, and I didn't go into the details, so my apologies for my lack of detail-oriented work on this part, that perhaps English isn't the first language of the creators, which means potentially that if you've got any text or adventure or books to read, that it might not be fantastic, because hundreds of equipment to craft just doesn't quite roll off the tongue. The art looks a little AI-y. I mean, they clearly state in the campaign that it is not the case, but it does look a little AI-y. And I'm not against AI art. For me, if AI art can bring a game to the table that would otherwise never see light of day, I'm personally okay with it. I'm also okay with you not being okay with it if that's your stance. This is a first-time publisher based in Turkey called Terra Rosa, and let me say, I wish them well, but their first oeuvre into the board game world is $300 Australian. It's $300 Australian for the game, and to get it shipped to Australia is another $100. So that's a lot. That's $400 and shipping's 33%. So I get some of these heavier games. When I say heavier, I don't mean, board game weight on BGG of, 4.35. I mean a game that's 17, 18 kilos, that shipping becomes more and more egregious, and if they're shipping into Turkey and then shipping out of Turkey, well, that would make sense as to why it's 100. I don't know why you would do that, because we are so close to China here in Australia. Like, we really should be first stop on the boat trip. So I don't know why it's $100 shipping, but it's $100 shipping for a $300 game. And when they're doing okay. It looks like it's going to fund. But if you like, if dungeon crawling is your thing, you are spoiled for choice. That is Ruinborn Dungeons of Caboria. Don't know anything about Caboria. I think there's a few videos out on Ruinborn. I think there's a few people around the trots doing some stuff on it. So up next, we have Uchibakoya. Uchibakoya is a Japanese publishing house. They are not first-time game publishers. They've been around quite some time. But they're doing a reprint of 3 of their older games. The garden games, Aqua Garden, Sky Garden, and Dino Garden. And if you're thinking Uchibakoya sounds familiar, they did Ostia, which has been around for a while. And last year on crowdfunding, they had Sweetlands running. Now, Sweetlands was this, to be honest, it's a Lacerda-esque, crunchy resource manager, and the gameplay looks like it's going to be really great. I wasn't a fan of the art aesthetic. I wasn't a fan of that sort of Final Fantasy VII-ish, and perhaps I need to get over myself and go, well, if I might be missing out on an amazing game because I don't like all the pink. And I love pink, don't get me wrong, but all the pink on this particular board, whatever. And these look fine. I say fine. Like, you can buy a 3-pack of Aqua Garden, Sky Garden, Dino Garden. It's one game system across 3 games, apparently. So the first one's fish, the second one is birds, and the third one is dinosaurs. There's a lot to unpack in this campaign. So if you're going to go have a look at this campaign, make sure you got a cup of tea or something with you, because there is a lot to get through and wade through. Not so much to find the information you want, but there is a lot of information there. All 3 games are unpicked in detail. The differences between them, gameplay mechanics, there's videos, and you've got to scroll for 9 minutes to get to the shipping down the bottom. For me, I think it looks like a nice game to play. They look like nice games. The Dino Garden, again, it's basically you've got little pens and you have dinosaurs, and you've got to feed the herbivores meat, and you've got to feed the carnivore. Sorry, don't feed the herbivores meat. Oh, I've got a vegetarian daughter. She would slap me for that. You've got to feed the herbivores herbivoria, and you've got to feed the carnivores meat. So there's little plant things you feed the herbivores, and it looks sweet. It's one of the things I'm learning about Uchibakoya, particularly after Sweetlands last year, is their production quality mantra now is more is more. More is more, because there's like 300 dinosaur meeples in Dino Garden, which is a lot of meeples for what looks like it's ostensibly a small box game. There's a lot to like about this campaign. There's a lot of stuff in there. I can't see anyone having the need to buy all 3 garden games when it's basically the same garden, unless you're like, well, Mom wants to play it with birds, and Sparkle wants to play it. Bad example, Sparkle doesn't play games, but let's say Sparkle wants to play it with fish, and I want to play it with dinosaurs. I can't see a need to buy all 3. They have a lot of their other catalog available, because of course Kickstarter is not a store, but you can add a lot of their other catalog to it, including Sweetlands, which hasn't delivered yet, but will have by the time this comes. And something like the games are priced differently, as in you got the 3 garden games. There's a slight difference in price between them. They kind of vary, I think, from memory, from between sort of $70 and $85, with the obviously the stuff with more components being more expensive. If you want one of the games, it's probably going to come in, and I'm trying to guess, because I have to guess, rather I should say, because while the pricing structure is there for all the games, the shipping matrix at the end is a little bit occluded. It's like, well, for 1 to 3 games, it's this price. And if one of these games and one of our big games, it's this price. And so, look, I haven't sat down with my slide rule to work it out, but it looks like if you want one game, it's going to come in at around $100 Australian, which, it's $100 Australian for a game these days. It's not a lot of money. It seems a lot for a small box game. Again, All Play's killing it in the small box space. I mean, when I played this week again, I played Waddle, and I played Ruins. And we had Twinkle Twinkle back on the table this week. These are all sub $100, and they're absolutely great games. So anyway, whatever. As I said, I've already said it, but I'll say it again. You can pick up most of the rest of their catalog in this as well if you're looking to fill in some of your back catalog with some really good games. Go for it. Shipping starts at $27. But I will, say again, that $27 in their campaign covers up to 3 games. But it's unclear which 3, right? So anyway, $27 isn't a lot for shipping these days. That is Uchibakoya's reprint. Up next, saddle up. This is Disco Heist Laundry. 3 words that probably in the history of board gaming and life in general have never ever been slapped together under any circumstances. That is a sandwich that should not exist. I'm at once both absolutely fascinated by the title and at the same time so nope I can't even tell you. But I do need to spend some more time on it. So anyway, here it is. So it's billed as the Radical 80s and putting together the heist of the decade. So think Ocean's 11 in 1981, I suppose. I don't like to crap on anyone else. Their first quote, though, is from the Liege of Games, who may be a delight in his personal life, but I struggle with the way he presents and the way he's so aggressive on the screen. And so their first quotes from him, and I immediately go, no. But anyway, I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, and I don't want to shit anyone else that's making a living doing this stuff. I'm not a fan personally, and as I said, it may be the persona he puts on for his channel, and if that's the case, it's getting him views. Right, he's getting views and he's got traction, and I wish him well. The first quote of this comes up. The gameplay for Disco Heist Laundry, and I'm going to go verbatim here. I'm going to word for word. It's described as: during each round, players take turns until each player has had a turn, and then the round ends. It's like I'm trying to maximize my word count in an essay in grade 9 English, right? Trying to find some. Look, I couldn't get to watching a gameplay video. I probably should, just to, I like the 80s retro vibe. Deluxe is $9 Australian. Shipping is $32 Australian, so it's 36%, which is creeping up there. But again, I'm not getting shipping quotes. I don't know what the landscape of shipping is going to look like for all of these creators sort of mid next year, and probably they don't either. Right? It must be a terrifying space. Again, I'll come back to the quotes. You look at all the quotes that are listed here by content creator partners that they've got. They really don't seem to say anything about the game, which for me I always look at and I go, well, if there's nothing in there that's specific, if the best you can sort of draw is these sort of vagaries that sound optimistic. Anyway, it's published by a guy named Mike Nade, who has over 20 campaigns to his name. He's been around a while. His most notable is probably Set a Watch, so he's got experience, he's got the chops. Still a small publisher, small indie publishing house. If you think Disco Heist Laundry are 3 words that speak to you, the art is really aggressive. Like, it's aggressive neon retro balaclavas and guns. Someone holding guns to the head of a hostage. I get kind of weird vibes off it, but I will look further because there could be a game in there. And that's Disco Heist Laundry. Up next, again. This is a whiz bang. I got 2 more that I want to do in minor detail, and then we'll have sort of a broad shotgun. Up next on GameFound is Terrorscape. I think it's actually Terrorscape 2. Terrorscape's a hidden movement horror game. They have this humongous 3D mansion that sits in the middle of the table, and it kind of bisects the board. So you have, I think it's one person playing on one side of the board, and the rest of the people playing on the other side of the board, which kind of sounds fine until you realize, well, you're not really engaging with each other. I don't know. Terrorscape has a huge following. It's a very popular game. People really like it. It looks like bags of fun. I'm not going to lie. Right? It's kind of an asymmetric hide-and-seek mechanic. Apparently it plays at 2. So I'm not sure how that sort of unfold on at 2. It's got a kind of Final Girl sort of serial killer-esque, whatever. It has all the stuff. If you want all the Terrorscape stuff, like if you want all in, which I think gets you all of the old Terrorscape stuff as well, the deluxe all in is $535 Australian. So you better freaking love Terrorscape. Look, I would really look at it further, but it has no solo mode. Clearly, it's a hide and seek asymmetrical game. There's no way to play that solo. And often when I'm backing these sort of really chunky, expensive experiential games, it's because I play a lot of solo games. I put stuff on the table solo, and when there's no one else at the table and it's just you, the gameplay has to suck me in, the immersion has to suck me in. All these things I like, they don't have to, but these are things I like. I like it when the immersion, I like it when the art's great, I like it when the components are great. It becomes a thing. I sit down, I'm down in the bunker for an hour or 5 hours, and it unfolds in front of me. And so it's got the kind of table presence where I go, wow, yeah, I can get behind that. But it's not the kind of thing that will get played, Shea Hammers here in the bunker, unfortunately. It's packed with minis. The mansion, which you should go, even if you have no interest in Terrascape, you should go have a look at this thing. It is a beast and a half. And the mansion that sits in the middle of the table actually has different skins that sort of either click on or slide into it for the different scenarios. Look, shipping for the all-in is $107, which is a lot until you kind of go, well, if that's only 20%. That's a lot. $107 in shipping in 2025. It feels like we're in triple-digit numbers for shipping. It's like, ow, could I have some lube and a kiss first, please? Please, I need to loosen up a little. But when you put it against the price of the game, I have other games I've paid over $100 shipping on, and they are massive, heavy games, as in a lot of kilograms. Look, if you want Terrascape, GameFound has got you. And then this is the last one because I when I was doing my research, I just ran out of steam. I thought, well, I'll do them all. Nope, I'm not doing them all. But I got one more for you. This is a game on GameFound that is called Bloodwork. And I decided to have a look at this one because there are a lot of creators. My YouTube feed's filled with obviously board game content, and I've seen Bloodwork pop up on a lot of sort of my regular subscriptions. I can't name them off the top of my head because I will probably get them wrong, but it's popped up a few times. Looking at it again, it looks like a very standard hack slash rinse repeat. It's this massive board, which I think comes in neoprene from memory, with these sparsely scattered bits of terrain and other minis on it. And I think that's the part of it where I look at, like, if you're going to do something and you want it to be immersive, this board is huge. Like, I want to say it's like a meter by 60 centimeters, so 3 feet by 2 feet. It could be even bigger. And there's like 12 things plunked on it, right? You've got a big house in one corner and 4 minis and a couple little scraggly trees. And maybe as you're playing, more stuff comes out. Like, I haven't watched a video. Like, I probably should go watch a video on this. I won't, and I'll tell you why. Because the all-in is over $600 for the all-in. And for a new bit of IP, this is by a publisher called iDemo Games. So, to the best of what I could find, they've only ever done one other campaign, which was a series of STLs and minis. To go from, hey, we've got these really cool minis and STLs to a $600 board game is a hell of a leap. Shipping, I'll say, is only $95, which, $95, that's less than 16% for a $600 game. I don't know how many minis are in there, but it kind of looks like, hey, we're a mini company. We've got great minis. Let's wrap a game around these minis. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Truly, I hope I am. I hope I'm wrong. I think last time I checked, this is kind of fun. They've crossed their threshold, but it just looks like a lot of stuff, and I'm trying to find the substance that would make me say, "Oh yeah, that's for me." But I will be doing some more research. I will be reading more. There are so many board games available on crowdfunding right now. So here's a quick fire because, it's not that I don't want to be boring, but I actually got bored of the research at this point. I was trying to be as detailed as possible and good. And I'm like, I just can't. It's just taking me forever. And I'm trying to unpick some of these more indie campaigns where, yes, they're less polished. Less polished means they can be harder to interpret. It can be harder to sort of, I guess, grok and absorb the information from the campaign and make a decision. So here's a quick fire. Lone Wolf, Vengeance of the Kai. Super generic name. I have no idea. It's a first-time publisher by Omar Games. There's another Keyforge game. Keyforge, Draconian Measures. Keyforge is a great game. Been around a long time. Spellrift Legends by Dragori Games. Dragori Games, you might recognize them. They have done the Tenares games. They've got a couple of Tenares things still live on GameFound, I believe, or Kickstarter. I nearly went in on the last Tenares game. It looked really good. I really liked the looks of the last Tenares game. I didn't in the end because there's other stuff I want to spend my money on. But the Spellrift Legends is hitting 500,000, so they're doing well. There's a reprint of the 3 quote-unquote lost games by Carlos Michan, Medieval Realms, Wishland, and Dreamwood. They all look fine. They look fine. You know, if you want to pick up 3 games that are lost, I don't know if they're lost because they're out of print or lost because someone can't find them or that's his, I don't know, it's lost games. I didn't have the mental fortitude to go down the rabbit hole. There is something called SCP, the Board Game Confidential Crisis. I have no fucking idea what that is. Okay? But I see it everywhere. Whether it's on my Facebook feed because Facebook's gone, here I'm spoon feeding you this stuff because you like board games. It's got $90,000 in funding, so it's probably going to go. But it's called SCP, the Board Game. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe SCP is some super referential IP that's been around for a long time. I will look at this stuff. I will. I just didn't have time to before preparing this for you because FOMOMOFO is usually about me. It's about me. It's about me and my loves and what I want. This time it's about them. Oh, Pathfinder Quest. Pathfinder Quest on Backer Kit. That's another one that's live right now. Pathfinder Quest, the Pathfinder series of stuff's been around a long time. This is doing really well. It's not for me because, again, it just has that sort of mid-tier. And if it's not mid-tier, hey, I'm not trying to shit on it. If you love Pathfinder, you're like, Hammets, fuck you, buddy. Pathfinder is the absolute GOAT. It's only because I don't know enough about it, right? Like, I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum. Oh, no way. To me, it's like, ugh, I look at it. And like, maybe it's amazing. I got to spend more time on this stuff. Anyway, you want new games? Holy sweet banana Jesus, you have options right now, right? Crowdfunding is drowning in games. It's been a ride today with this FOMOMOFO, but it's important to me for reasons. FOMOMOFO will not look like this from next week, but today it was worth it. In FOMOMOFO, God, I'm gonna have to pause and get another cup of coffee. I think if I'm going to continue this nonsense. In what's coming, Steamforge appears to be jumping on the Awakened Realms bandwagon, and by that, they are releasing the Terra Mystica Uber Bloat Edition. I don't think it's actually called that, and I actually think that, you know, Steamforge has made a history of making super bloated games that aren't fabulous unless you're already in love with the IP. I'm looking at you, Elden Ring, and a few other things. If you already love Elden Ring, allegedly these things are great. Terra Mystica has been around a long time, and I think it's exactly the right kind of IP that is ripe for that sort of Castles of Burgundy, Puerto Rico, and most recent one, which was Agricola, taking these older games and just zhuzhing them up to the max. I'm not going to lie, if somebody went, we're doing Gaia Project, and it's going to be in a box the size of AM Trespass, I'd be like, yeah, man, Gaia Project is one of the greatest games I've ever played. I love Gaia Project. You want to feed me a Gaia Project that has got, Gaia Project's already got lots of little tiny minis and stuff. There's a lot of cubes in Gaia Project. You want to feed me something that's bigger, brasher, bolder in Gaia Project? I will, yes, I'm already salivating. But so I think this will probably do really well. I'm looking at it. I don't own Terra Mystica, largely because I think Gaia Project's a better game. But who knows? This week on Voices in My Head, you know, it's funny. I was browsing all the campaigns this past week. Usually they drop on Tuesday and Wednesday, so I usually spend a bit of time, you know, before work, after work, on my lunch break, just browsing all the new stuff that's dropped. Wednesday's usually the big day in Australia because Tuesday's the big day for Kickstarter and Game Fund campaigns. Some things drop a little earlier, sometimes they drop a little later, so it's usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I was just going through all the stuff that had just dropped. And it was a lot this week. You know, my inbox was just going bing, 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 bing with stuff that's just gone live. There was a lot. Wednesday morning I got up and I had like 27 emails for stuff that had gone live. I'm like, holy crap. And so, you know, I get my coffee in the morning. And as I do, I usually do a first pass. And I found myself, I was opening it up. It was like Tinder. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, I'm 51. I've never been on Tinder, right? It's not, but it's like I know what Tinder is at least, right? And so it was like, look at the campaign, nope, swipe. Look at the campaign, nope, swipe. Look at the campaign, nope, swipe. And it was like, you know, it was like Tinder. I was like giving these games like 9 seconds of my time, and you know, I got to the end of something like 20 campaigns, because there were like 12 or 15 that went live, and there were a few that I wasn't aware of. And I got to the end, and I'm like, well, I want more. I want more. You've given me like 12 new things to look at. I want more. You know, I've realized, and this is a bit of an epiphany. This is Hammer's getting a little bit of self-actualization, that I've got a very minor budding board game porn addiction. Right? Like, I just want to look at it. I just want to suck it in. I want to look at it, and I need it to constantly be bigger and brasher and bolder. And that's what I want. I just want to just stick it in my eye holes. I want a half chub on my lazy boy with a coffee in my hand and Game Found in my other hand. And I just want to just be like, because it wasn't about the games. It was like, well, I just want to see something that's big and amazing. I want an Oathsworn. I want an ISS Vanguard. I want something. I want more. You know, I'll be honest, there were some games this last week that ticked a lot of boxes for me. You know, we talked about Robo Rescue. And Robo Rescue is the kind of game that absolutely just tickles all of my board game erogenous zones in all the nicest ways. You know, but this realization, and when I say board game porn, I'm not talking about like female fantasy barbarians fighting dragons in a bikini. I mean big, beautiful, overblown, expensive, chunky, over-the-top games, which, like, yeah, okay, they're great. They're great, but is it a good? I mean, is it a good game? I mean, I'm not even sorry, right? I'm not sorry. I don't feel bad about it. I'm a grown man. I can spend my money on whatever I want. But it was an interesting realization for me personally that I was basically popping open these campaigns for games, and I would spend 25 seconds and go, ugh, and just move on. I would just forget it. So here's the thing. What if I'm missing something really amazing? I remember touching on this probably about 20 episodes ago. I can't remember the exact details, but I remember having this thinking, like, what if I'm missing something fucking amazing? And what if I'm missing, I won't say the next Tigris and Euphrates, because, those sorts of things are very few and far between. The next Voidfall, for example, which is, the next Brass, whatever the case is. But I just thought, it's not even about kindness. It's just about fairness, not to the creators, but just to the world at large, right? So I went looking for more. I went back late in the week. I went back. And that's what prompted this episode in the way it is. I went back looking for it. And you know what I found? I found more. Oh my God, so much more. Kickstarter and GameFound have algorithms, and they feed you stuff. They go, hey, you might like this. It's not as bad as Facebook, but there's a whole lot of stuff they don't show you, right? You want to go and toggle and look for the least funded campaigns. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of board game campaigns on right now. I mean, fucking dozens. I lost count. And don't get me wrong, there's games that are painful to look at, right? There are games that are pretty, but I can't find meaningful gameplay. Like what was it, Bloodwork? One of those, yeah. They're really beautiful to look at, and you go, oh yeah, but where's the game? And then there are games that look fine. They look fine, and these are the ones that I want to explore more, me personally, because they look fine. And what's interesting is, the creators of these games, this is a dude in a garage who's gone, you know what, I love board games. I got a great idea for a board game. And he actually does have a great idea for a board game. He just doesn't have money. And so the campaigns come across as very underwhelming. In most cases, this is a labor of love. This is somebody has, whether that love's misplaced or not, only you can decide. But these are labors of love. So I'm going to tell you a personal story. Many, many years ago, I mean, I am a chef. I'm Canadian, a chef originally. I don't really do chefy stuff now. I still work in hospitality, but high-level executive stuff. But I am a chef. And when people say, oh, what do you do? I tell them I'm a chef. They go, oh, where do you cook? I'm like, well, I don't cook, but I'm still a chef. It's like being an alcoholic. Once you're a chef for life. You're a chef, or you're a chef in recovery for the rest of your life. But some years ago, I bought and opened a burger restaurant. Why? Because I fucking love a cheeseburger. Right? It was a very deeply personal thing for me. And if you have been in Australia or you live in Australia, you will know that burgers exploded in about 2019. You couldn't swing a cat in Australia without hitting 3 burger restaurants. And get me wrong, we don't actually swing cats in Australia, the rest of the world. It's just a saying here. We don't actually swing cats. That would be horrible. And so, but I opened mine in 2017. I saw the surge coming, and burgers have been a lifelong love of mine. They still are. I still adore burgers to this day. And I opened a burger restaurant. A couple of years later, I opened a second one, and we had a portable on the road, and I freaking loved that burger. I loved it. I'm gonna be honest. For the first year, not only did I not make any money, I lost money. Like, we were constantly transferring money back into the business, because the restaurant business is hard, right? It's a hard business. And when you open a burger restaurant and you actually have the most expensive burger in the country, which I did, not because it was table service and silver cutlery, but because it was a great burger. We were at one point, there was a burger app here in the country that was cataloging reviews from 2,800 burger restaurants across the country. 2,800. And we were number one for quite some time. We had a great thing. We ground our own meat blend. We were making pickles in-house. We made all our sauces in-house. We hand cut all of our fries, all of our chips, and double cook them skin on chips. It was a labor of love. And, we did all right out of it in the end, but the first year was so hard. And I was hands-on. I was there every night cooking the burgers, running the grill. Friday night, we used to call it survival mode. It was going into battle Friday night. People would drive 75 minutes. We were lined up an hour and 15 deep just for a cheeseburger on a Friday night. It was amazing. It took a long time to get there, though. And, and right as we were coming out of COVID, I sold the business, not because it wasn't doing well, but because it was. And burgers were at their peak. I mean, burgers kind of they haven't tanked, but there's been a major contraction in Australia, where there's that sort of boom bust, where the universe kind of implodes on itself a little bit. And there's a lot of burger places that have folded up shop. This little one's still going. There's a lovely family that bought it. They wanted a family business. They bought it. It's still going. It's still an icon. It's now a local tradition for people that are in the area or want to make the trip out to it. And I loved it. But there are so many things that circled and orbited around me that made it, the Fox. I couldn't have done it without the Fox. She was there cheering me on. And every time I said, look, we got to put another $5,000 in this account because it's not making money yet. She's like, no problem. She believed in me from day one. I remember it was 3 days out from opening. Right, and I was terrified. And I've been working in hospitality my whole life. If you want to pick somebody who should go open a restaurant, it's me. I've worked in management. I've got a master's in business. I understand how to do the finance, the accounting. I get it all. Like, I'm the kind of guy that should open a restaurant. Three days out from opening, I was terrified. I couldn't sleep. And I remember she turned over. It was 2 a.m. She goes, "What's going on?" I just said, "I can't sleep." I said, "What if nobody comes? What if nobody buys my burgers?" And she just kissed me and she said, "I've had your burgers. You'll be fine." And she believed in me from day one. And, when we sold, we did okay out of it. We did, I won't say, I'm not driving a Maserati, but we did okay out of it. We did well out of the sale and we came out of it, and I would never do it again, but I'm so glad I did. But aside from my beautiful wife, I had friends who would come and drive to support. There's not many people who want to come and spend. I mean, our basic cheeseburger was $14. Now you go, $14? Well, that's great. This was almost 10 years ago. 2017 we opened, right? And so our basic cheeseburger was $14. And that was a lot of money back then, when you can go get a cheeseburger for $8 or $9. You can get a basic cheeseburger for $8 or $9. $14 was a fortune. And we were getting lambasted in reviews, and people were coming in and telling us, "You're fucked if you think I'm paying $14 for a cheeseburger." And then what would happen is 6 months later, their curiosity would get the better of them. They come back, they buy a cheeseburger, they go, "Holy shit." So we wouldn't be there every day cheeseburger. We'd be there like once a month cheeseburger. And they'd come and they would have a burger. And from there, it grew. But my friends walking through the door to support, dropping $50, $60 on, lunch for 2.5 or 3, it meant so much, because this was my labor of love. And so fast forward to today, I was working 14 hours a day in this shop, 7 days a week. It was closed 2 days a week, but on those 2 days, you're doing payroll and ordering and paying the bills and banking and reconciling the accounts and social media, trying to keep up with the social media and all that stuff. Somewhere in crowdfunding is someone else's burger shop right now, right? And it's now my mission to find it. I want to find it. Don't This is not, I'm not pretending I'm some douchey Shark Tank guy. I'm not looking at funding someone's life, but I want to now find the little burger shops out in crowdfunding. I want to spend some time on this stuff that the algorithm's not feeding me and look for some gems. You know, I don't gamble. I'm not a gambler. I have put money into the, we call them pokies here. They're video lottery machines. I have bought a lotto ticket from time to time. I have been in a casino. It's not my jam. I sit there and I go, well, that was $50. Now what? What could I have done with that $50? Well, a lot. I could have done a lot with that $50. I'm not a gambler, right? Largely because you put that money and you get nothing. You get nothing. I mean, there's been a long time since I've put money into crowdfunding. I think I've only been stung once, very, very early on, where I've put money in for a project and I got nothing. I got crickets. They just folded up shop and fucked off. It's happened once. And I know if I'm going to be looking at these little teeny tiny campaigns, that the chance of that is going to be higher. But at the same time, most of these little campaigns, and I'm talking about first time, game producers. I'm not talking about somebody who goes, this is my first game, it's $600. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a guy who's like, hey, I got this quirky game that I've made. It's pretty cool. It's like $75. I'm like, well, here's $75. If I get nothing, okay, I'll probably get something. And if I find someone else's burger shop, well, then I'm going to be happy playing it once or twice. Go, yeah, that was fine. I went down, it was fine. It was fine. So I'm not much into gambling, and I get that this is kind of like the board game equivalent of loot boxes. Not so much. You know what's in the box in theory, but I want to spend some of my time, trolling through, and I use trolling in the phishing sense, not in the modern social media sense. Trolling through the little guys. I don't pretend to be anyone special, right? It's not. But if I can get past B grade components once in a while, to taste someone else's board game burger, well, maybe I'll find something special. If not, I know I've made someone else's day. So watch this space. As of recording, it is less than 3 weeks to PAX Australia. I have my badges in hand. I will be there Friday and Saturday. If you're there, hit me up. I'd love a selfie, a chat. I want to hear about your games. I would just love to hear it. Those of you that are off to Essen next month, good luck fitting everything in your suitcase on the way home. Pre-punching is your option, is your only option, is your only way forward. And one set of clothes, seven pairs of underwear. Or you can wash in the sink if you want to save underwear space. But I am deeply envious in all the best possible ways. As always, you can find me on all the socials if you want to, if you feel so inclined. You can help OMC by dropping me a like on Facebook or Instagram, or by leaving a review on whatever platform you choose. And this week's episode has been brought to you by Schrodinger's Sunshine. The bunker has no windows. I know it's out there somewhere. I expect to be in it in the next few hours, but thank you for that. And also, thank you as always for your time. Your time is precious, and the fact that you chose to spend an hour of it listening to how I spend my time is always humbling. Until next time, get your game on, even if you've got to play with yourself, because you are fucking amazing. Peace out, mofos.